They mocked a disabled girl in a roadside diner. They laughed. They filmed. They thought it was harmless fun. But they didn't notice the sound outside until the engines stopped. Asterisk, asterisk. Subscribe to our channel Bikershype. Like this video and share it with your friends. If you love Hell Angels, share this video now. Help us complete our 1000 subscribers target. Now prove your love. Asterisk, asterisk. They mocked a disabled girl at the diner until a group of bikers showed up. Asterisk. The diner stood alone on the edge of the highway, a forgotten place where tired truckers stopped for coffee and lonely people sat longer than they needed to. Its neon sign flickered. Diner, one letter half dead. Inside, the air smelled of grease, old wood, and silence that had learned to live with regret. At the far left booth, near the foggy window, sat a little girl named Emily. She was 12 years old. Her wheelchair was parked slightly sideways because one wheel refused to lock properly. A metal brace wrapped around her left leg, running from thigh to ankle, scratched and dented like it had survived battles no child should ever fight. Her hands rested in her lap. She wasn't eating. She never did when people stared. Emily wore a loose grey hoodie, sleeves too long, pulled down over her fingers. Her brown hair was tied back unevenly, as if someone had rushed that morning, or maybe no one had helped her at all. Her eyes stayed low. They always did, because when Emily looked up, people noticed her. And when people noticed her, they changed. Across the diner, 3 young men sat laughing loudly in a booth meant for families. Phones out, smirks ready. One of them leaned forward, pretending to whisper, but making sure everyone could hear. "Bro, look at her." Another snorted. "Is that thing even allowed in here?" They laughed. Emily flinched. Her fingers curled tighter into the fabric of her hoodie. She told herself not to cry. Crying made it worse. The waitress noticed. An old man near the counter noticed. A couple eating pancakes noticed. No one said anything, because silence is safer when you're not the target. One of the boys stood up. He walked slowly toward Emily's booth, dragging his feet like it was all a joke. "Hey," he said, grinning. "You racing that thing or what?" The others burst out laughing. Emily's breathing became shallow. Her chest felt tight. She whispered, barely audible, "Please, stop." He leaned closer. Did it talk? That's when the diner door opened. The bell rang. Once. Then the sound from outside hit the walls like thunder. Motorcycle engines. Not one, not too many. Deep, heavy, controlled. The laughter died instantly. Every head turned. The door stayed open for a moment longer, letting in cold air and fear. Then they walked in. Black leather jackets, heavy boots, road-worn faces. No loud voices, no jokes. Just presence, the kind that makes weak people uncomfortable. At the center of them was their leader, tall, broad shoulders, gray starting to creep into his beard, a long scar cut through his eyebrow like a reminder of a life lived hard and honestly. His eyes swept the room slowly. He noticed everything: the phones, the silence, the tension. Then his eyes locked onto Emily. He saw the wheelchair. The untouched food, the way her shoulders were curled inward like she was trying to disappear. His jaw tightened. He didn't ask questions. He took one step forward, then another. The bikers behind him spread slightly, not threatening, just unavoidable. The boy who had been mocking Emily stepped back instinctively. The leader ignored him completely. He crouched in front of Emily, bringing himself down to her eye level. His voice was low, calm, steady. "Hey, kid." Emily looked up slowly. Her eyes were glassy, red. "Yes," she whispered. "Did someone here make you feel unsafe?" Her lips trembled. She didn't point. She didn't speak. She didn't have to. The leader stood up. He turned around, slowly. His eyes landed on the 3 boys. The diner felt like it stopped breathing. He spoke softly. "So," he said, "which one of you thinks it's funny to hurt a child?" No one answered. Because for the first time that night, they were afraid. Asterisk, asterisk. Subscribe to Bikershype. Like and share this video with your friends. If you love Hell Angels, share this video now. Help us complete our 1000 subscribers target. Now prove your love. The silence before the storm. Asterisk. The diner stayed frozen. Not a single fork moved. Not a single breath felt safe. The 3 boys stood stiff near their booth, smiles gone, faces pale. What had felt like a joke just minutes ago now felt like a mistake they couldn't rewind. The biker leader didn't raise his voice. He didn't clench his fists. That made it worse. He looked at them the way a man looks at a broken road sign, not angry, just disappointed that it was ever there. Behind him, the other bikers stood still. No posturing, no threats. Just wait. The kind that presses down on your chest until you realize how small you really are. The leader spoke again. "Sit down," he said quietly. One of the boys laughed nervously. "We were just," I said. The leader interrupted, his voice still calm. "Sit down." The sound of the boy swallowing echoed louder than the engines outside. They sat. The leader turned slightly and motioned with two fingers. One biker stepped forward. Then another. Both were older men, faces weathered, eyes sharp, the kind of men who had seen enough of the world to know exactly when something crossed the line. "Lock the door," the leader said to the waitress. She hesitated, then nodded. Click of the lock felt final. Emily watched from her booth, hands shaking in her lap. She had never seen men like this before. They weren't loud like the boys. They weren't cruel. They were controlled. The leader walked back toward her. He knelt again. "Kid," he said gently, "what's your name?" "Emily," she whispered. "How old are you, Emily?" 12. One of the bikers exhaled sharply behind him. The leader closed his eyes for a second. When he opened them, something had changed. "Emily," he said, softer now, "did they touch you?" She shook her head quickly. "No." "Did they threaten you?" She hesitated. Then nodded. They said I shouldn't be out in public." Her voice cracked on the last word. The leader stood up slowly. He turned back to the boys. "You hear that?" he asked calmly. "A child, in public, eating fries." One of the boys finally found his voice. "Man, come on. You're acting like we killed someone." The leader stepped closer. One step, then another. He stopped inches from the boy's face. "You know what the problem is," he said quietly. "You think harm only counts when there's blood." The boy's bravado collapsed. The leader continued. "You didn't see her brace. You didn't see the wheelchair. You didn't see a child fighting a body that already betrayed her." His eyes hardened. "You only saw something weaker than you." Double quotes, silence. One of the bikers spoke up for the first time, a massive man with a shaved head and slow, deliberate words. "I've buried a daughter," he said. "She was 10. The diner gasped. The boy looked down. "I'd give anything," the biker continued, "to see her sit in a diner again." The leader raised a hand gently, signaling him to stop. He turned to the boys again. "Don't get punished tonight," the leader said. Relief flickered across their faces. "You get educated." The leader snapped his fingers. Another biker pulled out a chair and dragged it into the center of the diner. "Stand up," the leader said. The boys hesitated. "Stand," he repeated. They did. One by one, the leader said, "You're going to apologize." The first boy laughed nervously. To who?" The leader pointed. "To her." Emily's heart pounded. She didn't want this. She didn't want attention. But the leader looked back at her, eyes soft again. "You don't have to say anything," he told her. "Just listen." The first boy stepped forward. He couldn't look at her. "I'm sorry," he muttered. The leader tilted his head slightly. "Try again." The boy swallowed. "I'm sorry, Emily, for making fun of you." The second boy followed. Then the third, each apology heavier than the last. The leader watched them carefully. Then he said something that none of them expected. "You're going to remember this night." He gestured to the bikers. "These men ride thousands of miles. They've buried friends. They've buried family." His voice dropped, "and every one of them would burn the world to protect a child." The leader knelt beside Emily again. He reached into his jacket so she wouldn't be afraid and pulled out a small patch, not a club patch, just a simple one, a wing. He placed it gently on the table. "For courage," he said. "Not because you asked for it, but because he showed it." Emily stared at it. Tears finally fell. The diner watched, and for the first time that night, no one looked away. Subscribe to Bikershype. Like and share this video with your friends. If you love Hell's Angels, share this video now. Help us complete our 1,000 subscribers target. Now prove your love. The girl behind the wheelchair. The diner no longer felt like a diner. It felt like a confession room. The neon light above the counter buzzed softly, flickering like it couldn't decide whether to stay on or finally give up. Outside, the engines were silent now, but their presence still lingered in the air. heavy and undeniable. Emily sat frozen in her booth. The patch lay on the table. In front of her, she hadn't touched it. She was afraid that if she did, this moment would end, and she'd be alone again. The biker leader pulled a chair over and sat across from her, not too close, not too far, just enough to make her feel seen without feeling trapped. "What brings you out here alone, kid?" he asked gently. Emily looked toward the window. Her reflection stared back at her, small, fragile, broken in ways people could see and in ways they never would. "My mom works late," she said. "She told me to wait here." The leader nodded slowly. "How long you been waiting?" Emily shrugged. "I don't know. A long time." One of the bikers near the counter glanced at the clock. "Almost 2 hours." The leader's jaw tightened. "Emily," he said softly, "do you mind telling me what happened to your leg?" The diner went quiet again. This was the question people always asked, and the question she always hated. Emily's fingers twisted together. "I used to walk," she said quietly. "I used to run." Her voice cracked, but she didn't stop. "My dad used to race me down the street. He always let me win." The leader leaned back slightly. Listened. Double quotes. "One night," Emily continued, "he was driving me home from school. A truck ran a red light." She paused. The biker with the shaved head closed his eyes. "They said, if I hadn't been in the car," Emily whispered, "my dad might have lived." Words hit the room like a punch. The leader didn't speak. None of them did. "I woke up in the hospital," she said. "My leg didn't work anymore, and my dad was gone." A tear slid down her cheek. "I don't like eating at home alone," she admitted. "So sometimes, I come here." The leader looked down at the table. His hands were clenched now. Not in anger, in pain. "I'm sorry, kid," he said quietly. Emily shrugged again. "The way children do when they've learned pain. Doesn't go away just because people feel bad." The waitress wiped her eyes behind the counter. One of the bikers turned his face away completely. The leader stood up slowly. He walked toward the window. For a long moment, he just stared out at the dark highway. Then he spoke. "My name's Jack," he said, "and I had a daughter too." The room stilled. She was 9. Laughed too loud. Asked too many questions. Loved riding on my bike. Emily looked up. "She used to sit right where you're sitting," Jack continued. "In diners just like this, swinging her legs, telling me about school." He swallowed. "One drunk driver crossed the center line. No one breathed. I buried her with her helmet," Jack said, "because she told me once. It made her feel brave." Emily's tears fell freely now. Jack turned back to her. "Killing someone doesn't always take a weapon," he said quietly. "Sometimes it takes words. Sometimes it takes laughter." He looked toward the 3 boys. They were staring at the floor. Jack walked toward them again. "You don't get to walk away from this, pretending it never happened," he said, "but you do get a chance to do better." One of the boys finally spoke, voice shaking. "I didn't know," he said. "I swear, I didn't know." Jack nodded. "Now you do." Jack turned back to Emily. "Kid," he said, "what do you want right now?" She thought for a moment, then surprised everyone. "I want to finish my fries." A biker chuckled softly. Jack smiled for the first time that night. He snapped his fingers. "Best fries in the state," he told the waitress. "And a milkshake." "On us." The waitress nodded quickly. As Emily ate, the bikers stayed, not hovering, not intimidating, just present. Like guardians. When Emily finished, Jack knelt beside her one last time. "That patch," he said, pointing gently, "means you're never as alone as you think." Emily picked it up. Held it tightly. Then asked something no one expected. "Will you wait with me until my mum comes?" Jack didn't hesitate. "Yeah, kid," he said, "we'll wait." And they did. Subscribe to Bikershype. Like and share this video with your friends. If you love Hell's Angels, share this video now. Help us complete our 1,000 subscribers target. Now prove your love. When her mother walked in, the clock above the counter clicked past 9. Emily's milkshake sat half finished. A faint mustache of whipped cream on her lip. She didn't notice. For the first time that night, she wasn't watching the door with fear. She wasn't alone. Jack sat at the counter now. Coffee untouched, eyes still sharp despite the exhaustion in them. Around him, the bikers stayed spread through the diner, some standing, some seated, all quiet. Waiting. The door opened again. The bell rang, but this time, it wasn't fear that came in, it was panic. A woman rushed inside, breathless, hair half fallen from a loose tie, eyes wild as they scanned the room. Emily. Her voice cracked on the name. Emily turned. Mom. The woman froze when she saw her daughter, really saw her sitting safely, eating, surrounded by men who looked like nightmares from bad headlines. Her knees nearly gave out. Jack stood immediately and raised both hands slowly, palms open. Ma'am, he said calmly. She's okay. Emily rolled her wheelchair forward. I'm okay, Mom, she said quickly. They stayed with me. The woman dropped to her knees and wrapped her arms around Emily, sobbing openly now, holding her like the world might take her away again if she loosened her grip. I'm so sorry, she cried. I couldn't leave work. I didn't think it's okay, Emily whispered. They helped me. The woman looked up then at Jack, at the bikers, at the locked door, at the three boys sitting pale and silent in the corner. What happened? She asked. Jack didn't answer right away. Before he could, the diner owner stepped forward, a man in his late 50s, greasy apron, hands that shook just slightly. I should have stopped it, he said quietly. I didn't. Everyone turned to him. I saw them mocking her, he continued, voice breaking, and I did nothing. Jack studied him carefully. You know why? Jack asked. The man swallowed. Because once, he said, I was like them. The room held its breath. I used to laugh at people who were different, the owner admitted. Then my brother came back from the war in a chair. Emily's mother covered her mouth. I learned too late that silence hurts almost as much as cruelty. Jack nodded once. Tonight, Jack said, you learned early enough. The owner walked over to Emily. He knelt. I'm sorry, he said. No one should ever feel small in this place. He stood and turned to the boys. You're banned, he said firmly. Not for tonight. For good. They didn't argue. They COULDN. Single quotes to Doc. Jack turned to Emily's mother. You did your best, he said quietly. The world doesn't always make that easy. Her eyes filled again. Thank you, she whispered. All of you. Jack shook his head. Thanked her, he said, nodding toward Emily. She was brave long before we walked in. One of the bikers stepped forward, the shaved head. Man, he pulled something from his vest pocket, a small envelope. Inside was cash, folded carefully, for medical bills. He said simply. Emily's mother tried to refuse. Jack gently pushed her hand back. Pride doesn't heal bones, he said. Community does. The mother nodded, crying openly now. Jack crouched in front of Emily one last time. You remember what I told you? He asked. Emily nodded. That patch means I'm not alone. Jack smiled. Exactly. He stood and turned toward his brothers. Let's roll. The bikers moved toward the door. One by one. Boots heavy, jackets shifting, power restrained. Before stepping outside, Jack turned back once more. He looked at the boys. Then at the diner, then at Emily. Be kind, he said, or be quiet. The door opened. The engines roared back to life, and when the sound faded into the night, the diner felt different. Lighter. Emily watched through the window until the headlights disappeared. Then she looked at her mother and smiled. They were nice, she said. Her mother kissed her forehead. Yes, she whispered. They were. Subscribe to Bikershype. Like and share this video with your friends. If you love Hell's Angels, share this video now. Help us complete our 1,000 subscribers target. Now prove your love. What strength really looks like. Weeks passed. Life didn't magically become easy for Emily. Pain still visited her leg every morning. The brace still pinched her skin. The wheelchair still squeaked when she turned too fast. But something inside her had changed. She no longer looked at the ground when people stared. She no longer folded her shoulders inward like she was apologizing for existing. Because now she knew something most adults never learn. Strength isn't loud. Protection doesn't need permission. And family isn't always blood. What happened to the boys? The diner owner kept his word. The boys were banned. But that wasn't the end. One of them, the quietest of the three, couldn't sleep after that night. Emily's shaking hands haunted him more than Jack's voice ever did. He started volunteering. First at a food bank, then at a rehab center. One afternoon, he asked to help push wheelchairs, and every time he did, he remembered the girl in the diner. The other two, one changed, one didn't. Life sorted them out the way it always does. Emily's new Emily and mother stopped going to the diner for a while, not out of fear, out of healing. Then one Sunday morning, Emily asked quietly, "Can we go back?" Her mother hesitated, then nodded. When they rolled inside, the diner owner smiled and waved. "No charge today," he said. Emily smiled back. She sat in the same booth, ordered the same fries. This time, she finished them. The RUNO and the rumble came again. Not at night, in daylight. Engines lined the highway like thunder. Standing still, the diner froze for half a second, then relaxed, because this time, fear didn't arrive with them. Respect did. Jack walked in first. Emily recognized him instantly. She lifted the patch from around her neck. Jack stopped mid-step. His eyes softened. "Well, I'll be damned," he said quietly. Emily grinned. "You said it meant I wasn't alone." Jack knelt. "Remembered." She nodded. "So did you." Jack laughed, a real laugh this time. One of the bikers handed Emily a small box. Inside was a helmet. Custom sized, pink stripe along the side, a small wing painted on the back. "For when you're ready," Jack said. "No rush." Emily touched it like it might disappear. Her mother cried. The diner clapped, not loud, respectful. Jack's final WRODS. Jack stood by the door before leaving. He looked around the diner one last time. "Most people think strength is about fear," he said. "It's not." He glanced at Emily. "Strength is who you protect when no one's watching." He tipped his head to the owner. To the waitress. To the people who stayed learned. Then he walked out. The engines roared, but this time, they sounded like hope. EPI all due years later. Emily would tell this story herself, not as a victim, but as proof that one night, one diner, one moment of cruelty was met by something stronger. Community, courage, and bikers who chose protection over violence. Subscribe to Bikershype, like this video, and share it with your friends. If you love Hell Angels, share this video now. Help us complete our 1,000 subscribers target. Now prove your love.